Hello, and welcome to Spirit Rising. I'm Maryellen.
And I'm Minnassa. Hey. And we're outside.
We're here!
Yes, not too many days this week we could sit outside.
No,
Just
it's lovely,
tornadoes
though.
doing the
Yeah.
most. Your sister Lily just texting me, get in the closet right now. You get 'em. And, I'm like, no. She said, are you in the closet? Just,
I heard about her in the closet with Buttercup and Waffles.
oh, yes.
Cats.
Yes. Yes, so good to be in this beautiful place. Let me again just thank Mary Ellen for offering this gorgeous home. Thank you.
My pleasure.
It's a beautiful space, and so
It
we're
really is.
outside today on the second day of summer, because the first day of summer looked like the first day of winter.
Yep.
I know, don't be a complaining pants. So anyway, I have a surprise. I thought we'd start with a surprise. And now Mary Ellen's like, I have this set of questions, and I go, I have a surprise. So, I am publishing a book.
Wow, that's so exciting.
So it's a 28-day devotional.
Wow.
It's called The Late Shift.
Huh.
And so it's based on Wayne Dyer wrote a book called The Shift, and I was part of a book club, and we read it. And he talks about how, we all have the early shift is when we're kids, and then you get to this late shift, kids are gone, you got money, you don't have the same responsibilities. What now? That in some ways, this late shift is the best shift of your life. You're unencumbered in different ways, and talks about that. And so in that group, all of us were of the age, and it really got us to thinking. And so as I was contemplating, I thought I would love to write a book. I love to teach and encourage and empower and give people tools, something that would give them a set of tools to be able to say, yes, now that you're 50 plus, 55 plus, you still have value, because, of course, in this country, once you're over 30, you're worthless. And good luck to you in the rest of your life, right? And so spirituality and those things also focused towards that younger group. But, there's the wise woman, the old wise man. There's a reason those images, the sage, the guy up in the mountain in the cave, there's a reason that those are archetypes, because it's at that age not only were we able to dispense wisdom out, but we're able to really begin to enjoy our lives and live our lives. So it's 28 days devotional. It incorporates the game plan, which is my proprietary, let's use the words my proprietary. But how do you use that? And so the game plan is initially what I used in my stress workshops, being gratitude, affirmation, meditation, exercise. But one time when I was trying to take a nap and my guides didn't care, they wanted to talk to me about how that acronym can be used for other things. And so grace could be the G. Or there's a session in there where I talk about my grief, about my sweet Gail. Right? So that that is all the part of life of an older adult, of a maturing adult. How do I use those things to continue to live my best life, to know that you can still live your best life, and also be like that old man in the woods, or that old lady, the old wise lady, be sowing back into this energy and back to younger generations without depleting ourselves. So that's why that gives you daily devotion, gives you tools and affirmation and all those things.
That's so exciting.
I know, so I sent everything to my publishing rep.
Wow.
So hopefully in the next 3 or 4 weeks, so I'm hoping the center will let me do a book signing.
Oh, yeah. That's a great idea.
Yes.
That's a great surprise. I wasn't sure. I was like, oh, no. It's a good surprise. It's a good surprise. Yay. Well, congratulations.
Thank you,
It's very
darling.
exciting. Can't
Thank
wait to
you.
read it. And we'll all be there. I mean, I hope. If you're lucky, you get to make the late shift.
Indeed.
Yeah.
You know what?
Absolutely.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I am
Indeed.
grateful for my wrinkles and
Indeed.
aging
That's
and-
just, that whole thing, just, again, it's all about the products.
Yeah.
Right? We have this product to sell you, so it's bad to have wrinkles. Well, why?
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we've had so much going on at Unity, and I apologize that we missed last month. It has just been so busy, but here we are, and June is Pride Month, and we've had Father's Day and Solstice and celebrations, and so it's tricky, so much to do. But let's just jump in and talk about Pride Month at Unity and how we're celebrating and reflecting on what that actually means for us in our practical everyday reality.
Indeed. Let's also say in June, we said goodbye to some
Yes,
people.
we
We told
did.
your granddad,
Yep.
who inspired me, and I put my whole message. So,
Yeah.
Dora and May, thank you for the wild man that you were
Mm-hmm.
and the light that you shone.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And then um, not that we were expecting your granddad, but your granddad was what, 96, 97.
97. Yep.
We had to say goodbye to Rocapio,
Yeah.
which I don't even like saying that
I
sentence.
know.
But we had his celebration on Saturday, and just, I loved hearing his daughter speak that this is what my father taught me, not in words, but in his actions. A man of his word, a man of strength, a committed man. And so it was very beautiful. And so I'll just speak for myself for continuing to hold the May family in condolences, and Mama Maryellen. This is Maryellen Jr.
Yep.
So Mama Maryellen, and then holding Jonna.
Yeah.
You know, I as a minister, I've always said I've done more funerals than weddings, and I know this path, but I'm walking it myself in a new way,
Yes. Yep.
and so holding grace for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, even when I was finishing up the book yesterday and getting ready to publish it, I was looking over the things, and I did a dedication to Gail, and then just spent like 5 minutes
Yep.
bawling my eyes out.
Yep. That's the way to do it.
And so, so June we had some. Not only was the weather wild,
Yeah.
just too much. You know, Saturday, Sunday, me, Kathy, and Raven were going to go to Lake Lemon for a jazz thing. I'm not paying attention. I'm buying the ticket. It says activate on June 28th. I'm like, yes, that's today. Well, of course it wasn't, because they knew that weather was coming in, and if they hadn't changed it, we all would have been sitting there
Right.
enjoying the jazz, and then like, get to the car and everything. So, all good. So yeah, let's talk about Pride Month. Yes, be proud. No, it's a. People there are people who get angry and say, why do we have to have Pride Month? And why do we have to have Black History Month? And why do we have to have Women's History Month? The fact that you even have to ask that question already shows something's going on. And so Pride is a way, well, all of those months, Black History Month, Women's History Month, Mexican American Month, Asian AAPI, Asian American Pacific Islander Month, all of those is because those groups are the foundation of this country, but they get wiped out in history, or whited out in history, may be more accurate. And so it's a way to say you matter, you're important. And so that's what we're doing with Pride. The amount of people, there was a show called Pose. Is that it? It was Pose, and it was about the LGBTQ community and trans community in New York in like the 80s. And people coming out to their parents, and their parents literally saying, well, you can get out of the house. Like, what is that all about? And it's still happening. It's like, what do you mean? What is going on? And so still, kids killing themselves because their parents told them you're going to hell, or you're a bad person, and we don't love you, and we're not going to accept you anymore. And so that's what Pride Month is about. I want every person, that I don't care who you love, as long as it's consensual and doesn't involve children, right? Let me start with that. But adult loving relationships that are consensual and healthy, do your thing. But most people don't make them say, I'm 25 years old and this is who I love. No, you felt that feeling when you were younger. And I want there to be a safe space so that if an 8-year-old boy or a 9-year-old girl, I'm a they, them, that they can feel that it's safe to do that. And part of what we'll be talking about next month is that I'm coming back to the Year of Excellence, because we're 6 months in, so
wow.
let's renew, and looking at our mission statement and vision statement. So we say, our God is love, our race is human. I can't remember the other thing. Is that true, right? Because if we're the human race and our God is love, then everyone is welcome. Everyone. And that's what Pride Month is to me at Unity. The confirmation that everyone is welcome. So as part of the affirmation, I think you have it written down.
Good. Yeah.
I have that
Living out
love
loud.
is love, right? So that's not just for LGBTQ plus people, but that love is love for everyone. Why don't you read this stuff?
Well, I just love the theme, Radiant Pride, living out loud in full color. And that this is an invitation to all of us, regardless.
Yes. Oh, Maryellen, boom, boom. You're getting it, girl. There you go.
To our fullness and to living out loud and being who we are and loving who we are. It's powerful. Yeah. And it was so interesting, though, that the first two talks that you gave were about Jesus. And I think we had talked about that. And I was surprised, but also like heard stories about him I definitely never heard, and framed in a way that he was a rebel. And I'm
Correct.
absolutely like, oh, wow, this is new for me.
Correct. So looking at Master Teacher Jesus again, and Unity, Jesus is seen as the way shower, someone who was in a more modern time able to take in his Christ consciousness, to live that imago Dei, that image of the divine, and to see that in everyone, and to be more concerned about that. I was on a podcast years ago. We're talking about mental health, so I was doing my mindfulness work, and it's with a bishop, beautiful woman bishop, and somehow I shared this story about when I was in seminary. This one professor I had who said so let's give a context. There used to be a day when Bibles had that what Jesus said was in red. So the New Testament, when you're reading the Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, the narratives of Jesus would be in red, right? It's called the red letter edition, because these are the words of Jesus. I don't know why they put them in red. It should have been purple or something. But anyway. And my professor said it was more important that the things that Jesus did should have been in red. Right? So it's the actions. And so, yes, I even talk about how people love, Ricky Bobby from Talladega Nights, little sweet little baby Jesus in the crib, right? We just love our little sweet baby Jesus, or you have these pictures of Jesus. Miss Catherine was a lady who lived down the street from my Aunt Patty, and my aunt and her house had the exact same setup. But she had this hall, and down at the end of the hall was this picture of Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, as blonde and green-eyed as he wanted to be. I used to look at that. It's like, right? But again, here, serene. I mean, he's praying. There's like a halo around him. He's giving, and that's, again, people are multi ways of being, right? But again, that type of Jesus is easy to swallow, easy to put up with. And so those are the narratives. But when you take a look at the actions of Jesus in the context, right? And so, well, he died for our sins. Well, he actually got executed, not because he was doing anything that bothered the Roman government, but he was doing something that bothered the theocracy that was part of Israel. So theocracy is a government run by their religion. And so that's why when you see he's constantly hitting back at the religious leaders, because they were also the political leaders. But yeah, if you want to control people, you're not going to talk about Jesus in that way. He was meek and mild and like a lamb led to the slaughter for your sins. So feel guilty because of that. Because he was a nice man. He had to die because you're such awful people, right? I mean, there you go, right? There you go. There's the story. And yeah, but really looking at how this person understanding that the image of God, the imago Dei, is in everyone. And that, so even the people that were irritating him, he was still trying to love them, but it's like, you're not going to keep hurting this group of people because it's better for your power, because it's better for your own image, because it makes you feel better. That's not what this spiritual path, this religious path that Judaism that they were practicing, he felt that it wasn't what that was about. And so, so we talked about, there's a whole series of, look at him. So these are the church people who are also the political people. So these are the people in positions of power. Watching this young rabbi, because he had some sort of ministry, he hangs out with the wrong people, with those prostitutes and publicans and tax collectors. And I always say to them, my God, people done hated the IRS forever, right? And these are tax collectors, right? But they worked for the Roman government. They were taking money from the people that were oppressing. And so instead of saying, maybe we should be more inviting of these people. No, they just condemned them for it. And how do you think those people felt? To be in the presence of this person who was accepting and loving them, and in some ways it transformed them. I talked about the story of Zacchaeus. Sang the song, Zacchaeus was a wee little man. Okay, enough of that. But he climbs up in a tree because he's trying to see Jesus, and Jesus says, "Hey, I'm going to your house." Which is like, okay, invite yourself over. No. And in the midst of that, of Jesus being in his house, accepting him, engaging with him, he just spontaneously says, "If I've cheated people, I will pay them back." No, not just what I cheated them, 4 times the amount. Right? That again, in the loving presence of someone who is embodying their oneness, their Christness, that real transformative power of love, it changes people. And so, again, the people, we don't, talked about on Sunday, so Father's Day, Brian Shepherd was our speaker, and his husband Dakota was the service leader. And that was very purposeful, right? They say, everyone's welcome at our church, but you can't have any positions of authority and you can't do anything. No, you're going to be the preacher and you're going to run the service. That's right. Put your money where your mouth is. And so, yeah, that's what, to me, that's important. Say, well, that's because you're gay yourself. That's right. Why do you think we have Black History Month? Why do you think I focus on Women's History Month, right? Yeah. Ding, 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 ding. I was saying to Phyllis, we were talking about something. I said, well, what did you guys do for Black History Month previously? She goes, well, we didn't have it before you got here. I said, okay. Yeah. Okay. Right? Mm-hmm. So it shows the focus. But yes, love is love. Say, well, I'm in unity. I love everyone. Okay. Do you? All right. So next month, we're going to talk about our race is human. So on Juneteenth, Kathy Kinsman said, well, me and Lily and Raven had already made plans to go to the Juneteenth over at Switchyard Park, a beautiful place in our town. And I'd been in a meeting with the mayor, and she had talked about how it was important to do that. So somehow I was talking with Kathy, and she said, well, I'm gonna go to Juneteenth. She needed to go earlier than me and the girls were going, because she needed to do something with Mama Peg. That's her mama. Mm-hmm. I said, okay, well, I'll go with you. So I changed everything around. I went with her. So I was there, and I looked at her. If you don't know, Kathy's white. I'm just saying, like Boston white she has a whole thing of showing her family way back, right? I said, why did you come to Juneteenth? She says, well, everyone should celebrate freedom, right? So, again, that Juneteenth isn't a Black event. People, I can't go to the post office because of Juneteenth. Well, you can't go on Labor Day. You can't go on Christmas. You can't go on Easter. You can't go on the 4th of July. But somehow it's a super inconvenience because you can't go on Juneteenth. Well, if you know Juneteenth is coming, go to the post office the day before, right? So, but again, that whole concept of these little things are inconveniencing me. Okay. But yeah, so one of the questions I'm going to ask the congregation next month, our race is human, is how many of you did something for Juneteenth? Because most of them will be like, in their mind, well, that's something for Black people. Mm-hmm. Well, folks get mad if Black folks want to say, well, I'm not going to participate in the 4th of July. What? That is America's birthday, Frederick Douglass wrote a whole piece. What is the 4th of July to me? People that looked like me on the 4th of July in 1776 weren't free. Yeah. Facts say, well, come out of the past. Okay, the Supreme Court just gutted the Civil Rights Act, right? That's something now. Mm-hmm. So in the state where I lived in Tennessee, they called a special session and just totally changed the thing. Every Black representative or state senator and every woman, and they stood on their desk, they yelled and hollered and did everything. They all got taken off their committees. Wow. Yeah. And if you want to know why, you can talk. They know why. Right? This is present day. Mm-hmm. This is happening. Alabama went to do it. I think South Carolina did it, and they got word. So what we're saying now is that's fine. You want our Black athletes in your schools at Alabama and Mississippi. Okay, well, maybe if we tell them sign at another school, right, again. But so this is modern day. This isn't about slavery. And so, again, why are we celebrating Pride? Because love is love, and we are one. And, I don't know what anybody does in their house. So why are you so concerned about that? Mm-hmm. You're going to talk about Jesus labels. So people say, well, Minnassa, you're a lesbian. Well, why are you saying that? Because you were married to a woman. Okay, well, I was married to a man, too. And I had a baby with another man. Mm-hmm. Well, that means you're bisexual. How about it's just that what turns me on is a person's intellect. Mm-hmm. So if you present to me as smart and intelligent, and then the other things are also in place, okay, you got me. Mm-hmm. Right? Okay, labels. Yeah. You're an African-American woman. Do you even know that ancestors are from Africa, well, you're just guessing. Now, yes, I have the phenotypes, and I'm not trying to deny, but just stay out my business. Again with these labels. So when Jesus, he's hanging around with the wrong people. Wrong by who? Right? Labels are about controlling, our favorite word, policing people, trying to fit them in a label. That's one of the reasons I talk about you're not going to dim my shine. I think about Rodney King. Can we all just get along? Let's start with that. Can we all just get along? Right. Now, I have been very open and public about the type of people I don't want to hang around with. There are people trying to make me eat liver and onions, right? But other than that, I'll come to your house. I'm just not eating that food with you, but I'll, have water, sparkling water or wine or some other type of drink, right? But can we all just get along? Let's start with that. And that's where labels become the problem, right? You're a minority. Am I? That's what I love about World Cup. You better take a look at the folks coming here, because
The global majority.
that's right.
Yeah.
But why do you need that label? Right? Because that means I'm not a part of the power group. Well, women are minorities. I don't even think that's true. I think in the United States, women are the majority of the population, and in the world, of course. But why do you say that? That label means that the people who are the majority have the power. So again, can we question that? In this Pride Month, this is the time to stand up and say, I'm going to be self-defining. And who I love in my house, well, you want to hold people's hands. Well, you get, straight people get to hold each other's hands. Well, what do I go? Ew. I don't see that man and woman holding hands. Yuck. Right? It'd be like mind your business. Again, and so this Pride Month is about that. Being proud of who you are, what you bring to the table, how you be, how you make a difference in this world, how you're healing yourself, how you connect with your spiritual truths. Be proud of all those things. We're having a speaker this Sunday, Melanie Davis from the Front Door. And I said, please send me a bio. We're going to, goes in the newsletter. She says, well, I'm having a hard time writing my bio. I'm like, okay. She goes, because I feel like I'm bragging on myself. I'm like, brag, girl. That's right. Brag on yourself, right?
That is hard to do.
And so, yes, celebrating Pride, that love is love, not just for LGBTQIA, ABCDEFG plus, right? But for all of us, love really is the factor, right? But love doesn't mean be a doormat, right? So you have people who are in a relationship, well, I just love him. Black eye, broken leg, broken arm, broken clavicle, cracked ribs, right? Love needs to be reciprocated. So love is a relationship. It's an energy exchange. And so if you keep giving out, you're eventually going to be empty. So love is it's a reciprocity. It's a relationship. It's an energy exchange.
I'm just so grateful the way that we're celebrating Pride and the way that you're leading this theme for the month, because I think, I don't know, I am, and I feel like other people are too, becoming very skeptical about some organizations saying, oh, happy Pride Month. And then you're like, yeah, and the rest of the year, also happy Pride.
Correct.
Every single
Yeah,
month.
like my friend has, we joyfully celebrate Pride in June, and then in parentheses, also July through May.
Yeah.
Right, it's not our little 1 month deal.
It feels, so that's why it feels authentic. So the invitation to be authentic feels authentic. And the community, I absolutely would not hesitate to invite anyone, everyone, to check out Unity and to see, how they feel in that space, because it's a very, very loving space. And so I thought I would ask you, because I love all these, big umbrella questions, but then bring it down to our daily
the nitty-gritty,
to our actual lives. Okay. So I thought I would ask you about authentic living out loud in full color. So in your life, where do you see this in your life, and how are you practicing authenticity or becoming more aware of your fullness and bringing that out and letting it shine? And maybe, because we do tend to dim our lights, and just like Melanie was saying, oh, I can't,
Yeah, that's right. Can't brag
yeah,
about myself.
right. So how are you practicing this?
I was saying Maryellen's a member of the board, so they get a full view of me once a month.
It's
All right?
spectacular.
Yes. Yes, they're all looking at me like this. So one of the ways that I'm doing that is by taking care of myself. So I had to admit, girl, you tipping this scale. These numbers are too high. You got to do something about it. Okay. But I also had to admit I didn't. My body's different at 60, like at Roy's a celebration of life. Now, once I get in the church, I'm moving all around,
Yeah.
right? So I oftentimes feel hot. And so I was hot. And I thought, okay, now is it me? So I didn't know this was Roy's son, but this is a man wearing a suit, right? That male muscle mass, which already makes them hot. So I thought he would be the perfect person. So I go up to him and I say, excuse me, I want to ask you a question. So this is coming from a postmenopausal woman, right? All my little adjectives. Is it hot in here? No, it's just fine. I'm like, ah, man. Okay. So then it is me. Right? But being your full self. Okay, I'm just hot in here, right? All those things. But that to be your authentic self. So I had to say, okay, I need help.
Yeah.
So I went to Weight Watchers, got started on that. I'm telling you, if you want to lose weight, Weight Watchers is not paying me. And if
Yeah.
you did Weight Watchers years ago, it is so different.
Oh.
Get the little app, everything's on there. If you, like, I buy bread from Fresh Time. It's called Silver Hills Mega Amazing something. I put in bread's right there. They done already calculated. Boom, just press plus. Right? And then it keeps track of my macros. So did I get enough fiber? Did I get enough protein? I mean, it's like amazing.
Wow.
So I started doing that. Now, when I worked at the hospital in South Haven, Mississippi, I used to be down in the admin section. Well, I needed to get away from there, so I ended up being in the hospital. And so like 6 months later, for some reason, I had to go to the admin section. I was like, what is happening? Everybody was skinny. And when I worked with them, they were all nice and chunky. Well, they are all using, I think at that time it was Ozempic.
Okay.
Right? Because
Right.
there's doctors there who could
Yeah,
write your
right.
prescription. So I'm ecstatic. There's something I could, oh yeah. What, I have to give myself a shot? Ah, could you make it more demonic, right? Oh, and if anyone in your family had medullary thyroid cancer, you can't do it. Okay, thank you. My mother had medullary thyroid cancer. But I was like, So then now they have tirzepatide, and it's much better, and it's now helping regulate your insulin resistance and things. But again, to admit, kind of like AA, I need help. I need a source and resources outside of myself to help me.
Yeah.
And so that's how I shine. I'm like, yeah. And so then when I went on my vacation, I was just gonna wear my old clothes. I'm like, no. So I got this top and my little skirt that I'm wearing, and to enjoy myself. One is the best way to live out loud is to get used to enjoying yourself by yourself. Right? Because if the only way you can come alive and have fun is when you're around other people, is that true? Or is this an act that you're putting on around them? But do you love your own company? Do you value yourself? And so that's one of the ways that I do that. The other way is that, as people know, I'm just going to be myself.
Yeah.
So people get shocked when what do you do for a living? I'm a minister. And I'll be like, oh, yeah, I love me some bourbon. And I worked one time at a place, and I can't even remember the occasion, but the F word came out of my mouth, which if people know me, like, oh, they were shocked. Yes, they were shocked, okay? It's like, you're a minister, and okay, again, labels. You're a minister, okay, whatever had me feeling that way, right? I was going to be myself. Now, one of the things that I realized is that Gail used to help smooth my rough edges. So I am working with a spiritual director, and I'm taking an ethics class and doing self-reflective leadership, right? But the whole point of that, when I wrote it, is that using those very words. I'm not going to dim my shine, and I'm not going to be true to who I am. But when I'm passionate about something and I'm flailing my hands about, my voice is raised, most people see flailing hands and raised voice as someone who's angry, or I'm just passionate about it, right? So how can I translate that passion by being authentic to myself, but in a way that conveys that? So yeah, so again, I'm going to get help on that, right? Not just be like, this is who I am, you got to deal with it, because that's how I feel most days. But again, that's how I take care of myself. I mean, I want to be in relationship with people. I wanted my board to know that I love them, right? But this is important to me. So how do I convey that in a way that's authentic to who I am?
Right.
So you need help. So to me, the best way you can be yourself is work. What are the resources to help you? You know, it's not a secret. Raven is doing some 12-step work, and one of the things they said to her is, she's been sober very long, but you don't have to white knuckle it, right?
Yeah.
So again, that.
Right.
So again, the way I take one of the ways I'm my true self is where I need help, I ask for help, and I accept it, or if help is offered.
Yeah.
I did that, and then just doing my thing, interacting with people. People are, what are your office hours? Listen, I'm not trying to be in the office. Everybody got my phone number. Everybody can email me. So just like tonight, Joni and I are going out. There's a beautiful woman came to the center. Her name is Rebecca. And her and I have been interacting. She does like this amazing healing retreat. She's like, "Oh, I can't meet with you this week." And she lays out this whole retreat. I'm like, "What?
Wow.
You do what? What?" Again, so I'm wanting to interact, be here with you. Doing stuff with Phyllis, tormenting Kat. Now, that's why I do go in the office to torment my admin. But meeting with people, it's about relationships. And so one of the other ways I honor myself is I can love you from a distance, but my energy is precious. So I don't let everyone into my zone. I hug everyone at the center, but this is what I'm not good at. Maya Angelou said, when someone shows you who they are, believe it. And I'm like, no,
So
they were
hard.
having a bad day. They were stressed out, right? All this stuff. And then by the 10th time, now I'm ready to sock that person in the eye, right? But it's my choices, or that first time they showed me that, and the second time they showed me that. But I'm like, that's my mother in me. My mother's very Pollyannish. So, well, I just think that they're nice. They probably.
She's looking for the good.
Correct.
I love that.
That's my mother.
That's awesome.
So one of the ways I'm living myself authentically is taking what you give me. And if this is who you are and consistently, that's fine. But this is these are the people I want to have my energy around, and those people have access to me, and I try to engage with them. So that's another very authentic way to do that.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. And then I'll say one last thing, resting. So like my vacation was awesome. I went to Turks and Caicos. It was amazing. So I thought, and I came back feeling very refreshed. And I thought I need to take another vacation. So I'm going to do that before the onslaught begins, which is school and the colleges and everything. So
I love that you brought up Master Teacher Jesus as an example of this. And do you have any other people in your life or that you think about? Well, that's someone who's living out loud. That's someone who is living authentically. I'm just curious.
Well, so I'll say that with Master Teacher Jesus, he had the time to take time away and then to speak the truth to power. So he would just go and spend time. So that same concept, like I love my own company. I know that when I get still and I get quiet, I'm able to hear the trees are talking to me. My ancestors are talking to me, because the world's got all these little things, labels, and you should be doing this and you're, but when I get in that place to where wisdom, to where I can connect with my Christ consciousness. So you see that in Master Teacher Jesus. Are there people in my life that do that?
Or anywhere that you think about, like, this is an example of this for me. I just was curious.
Wait, so I'll tell you the story of Lily.
Okay.
So Lily is my daughter, as you know, and she's going to school, and she wanted to come to Roy's celebration of life. But her stylistics class is just kicking her butt. So she came early,
Wow.
brought her stylistic book,
I love
sat
it.
down in the
Yes.
Katie room.
Yes.
And then they called her up when it was time to start, right? So again, she had to be true to herself, but she also wanted to be in community,
Yeah.
right? So is there a balance for that? So it was hilarious. It was hilarious.
She's definitely an example of authenticity for me.
Okay, tell me more.
Well, she just knows herself, and she great boundaries, and she knows what she wants. It's not even a question for her. She's like, this is what I'm gonna do. And ever since I've known her, and it's not that she's on a journey. So she's
Yes.
learning all the way, and she's saying, no, I'm not gonna go that way. I'm not gonna go that way. But she knows what she wants. It's phenomenal. Yeah, I learn a lot from her.
Now she loves you, so
Oh.
I would say that even in our community, Phyllis, is someone who
Absolutely.
is very
Yeah.
connected to how she
Yes.
wants to be, who she wants to be. She honors her journey. You know, you talk about Lily and Phyllis, both her and Phyllis, their journey is hard won.
Yeah.
They have had some hard
Absolutely.
lessons and some hard knocks. And so, and what I love about Phyllis, even though I complain about Maryellen doing this to me, you know, Phyllis is the first one to say, you need to step back,
Oh wow.
right? Calm, slow down, calm down. And I appreciate that, right? That I don't, you know, I don't want everyone fawning and fiending. Well, you're the minister. No, no. Okay.
Yep.
Someone, you know, so Phyllis has
Yes.
never been disrespectful, but she'll
No.
be like, you know, Manasseh, I disagree with you on that. Let's talk about it. Right? Not just I disagree with you on
Yeah.
it, but let's talk about it.
Yes.
And so that's why I think that she is very authentic in that way. I would say, looking, because they had the big opening this weekend, you know, Michelle Obama,
Yeah.
someone who's been very authentic, who at some time had to reshape herself, right? I see everyone, I'm like, girl, who's doing those braids? Who's taking the braids out? Because that's the whole thing. It's easy to get your hair braided, but who
Yeah.
taking those braids out? But you know, again, she's living herself, being how she wants to
Yes.
present. And again, so talking about my book, The Late Shift, that here she is in her, I don't know if they're 60 yet. I think, yeah, I think they're, if not, they're knocking on the door. I think Barack Obama is older. I'm going to be 63. I
Okay.
think he's older than me, and she may be a little bit younger. But again, in your 60s, who are you? You know, they're their mom and dad, and they're this and that, but who are they when they're in their house? Who are they when they're on vacation? And so I really like that authenticness of them. You know, I think Pope Leo's working on a good authentic thing too.
Yep.
You know, he'd be like, "Yeah, go next." I'm like, "Dude,
Maybe less.
indeed." No, that's true. But you know, he'd be hyping up Chicago, and I think of kind of like how Princess Diana, that you know, well, you yeah, you can go visit the AIDS orphanage, but don't touch anyone, and she's all embracing the kids, and you know, for the Pope to say the church played a powerful, unhealthy and toxic role in slavery, that we were behind that and empowered that, that's an authenticity.
Yeah.
He didn't have to say that. He could be all in his little holy place just doing whatever the Pope does, receiving visitors and people kissing his rings, and you know, no, but he is really out here doing the work. And so when he doesn't have to, right, when he was a parish priest, yeah, he had to be doing all that stuff, but now he could just be living it up. I don't know how priests live it up, but you know, just saying, right? Yeah, but he's still, right? All the wine and wafers you could possibly want. You know, living his best life, just chilling out and doing nothing. Just, okay, Pope, we need you to sign this, or come and speak at this event. But he's talking about, we need to admit where we were wrong. Everybody matters, you know, beefing it with the President of the United States.
Yeah.
Right, saying that this is the gospel, that you guys want to talk about this gospel of exclusion, right? And no, you know, you only matter if you follow our little list of rules. He's saying, no, well, I'd look at this book in a different way. Let me bring you something different. And so I appreciate that about him too. You know, and I say your dad.
Yes. Absolutely.
You know, I saw him at the Celebration of Life, and I said, I don't know if I'm going to fuss at you or just be happy to see you. All right, because I got some stuff to fuss at him about. He said, I'm breathing. I said, okay, I'm going to be glad to see you. But also just living a very
Yeah.
authentic way. He keeps trying to get me out there in the woods with him. I think I'm going to
So
go.
awesome.
This is like, yeah, but yeah, so I got my little sticks now, so
Nice,
I'm ready
yeah.
to go. But people who are just connected and who are willing to be who they are, and then work in relationship, but I think for me, someone who's authentic is their actions speak louder than their words. So if you tell me you're going to do something and then you don't do it,
Yeah.
you know, now if you fell down, you're in the hospital, I get it, but if it's not something like that, and again, authentic. And so can we look at Master Teacher Jesus not as someone so holy that I
Yes.
can't attain to, but someone who wanted to be in the mix.
Yeah.
He wanted to hang out with the people that no one else loved. He wanted to be a person that said, I see all these rules, but I have this gift of life in me. I have this gift of love in me. So on the Sabbath, dude, can you reach out your withered hand? You're healed. You on the day that we're not supposed to do anything, but why would the divine not do good every day? So yeah, you who've been paralyzed and laying here waiting for these folks to help you, just get on up. Right? That's that authenticity. And so I shared on Sunday that the day that my sweet Gail passed away, Lily and Kathy were like, "You're going to eat today," because I just had a knot in my stomach those days before. And when the owner said, "Well, I hope the rest of your day is good," and I could have said, "Yeah, thank you," but I was like, "No, the rest of my day is not going to be good," and he just embraced me again,
story.
right?
Yeah.
Again, this man doesn't know me; he just owns that restaurant, um, right? To be able to say, "I no, this." Right, so again, that concept that's the authenticity, not always being like, yeah. Right, that's why people are drinking in secret and drugging in secret and overeating in secret and sleeping around in secret. Not that all those things are bad, but it's because you're using those things to medicate yourself because you won't let your real self out. If you just let your real self out, then you can do those things in moderation and enjoy them,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I don't know about you, Maryellen, because I'm sure that you're perfect, but we've all had those times where we drank too much, and then your body said it's going to come out right now,
Yeah.
right? So if you could enjoy the drink without that whole thing, say, okay, I feel sad. You know, it, in a world where everyone has to be perfect based on something, not every day is good, but there's something good in every day. So how you doing? I think I think it was Luke who said, say, well, how you doing?
Yeah.
I'm not doing well today. Okay, good. I thank you for letting me know. Is there a way that I can be of support? No, I'm just feeling some kind of way. Well, let me hug you, and you got my number, right? Versus, wow, let's just be all unity, and why don't you say a positive affirmation that right now everything in my life is right, and I feel okay. If they're not feeling that way, I'm not saying the affirmations and the denials don't have a place, but how about let people be in a mood?
Yeah. Have what you're gonna have.
Yes.
Because he said, "I'm not okay, but I will be." Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
You gotta
That
have it
statement.
first.
That's right. That statement keeps you from, guzzling Jack Daniels
right.
or doing whatever.
Yep.
But we all gotta.
This makes me think too about your talk about labels and Jesus as a label breaker, which I was so grateful for. We could just talk about that forever.
Ever.
Because we slap labels on everything, everyone else, and on ourselves. And we're just label, 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 label. But if we broke through those, even just, okay, like, nope, I'm not going to, asking the question, is it true? We'd be in a very different place right now.
Yes. Is it true and is it helpful?
Yeah.
Right. That even people who commit crimes, well, are they criminals? Or are they someone that made a bunch of bad choices and now they're getting the consequences of that? But can they change? Can they change? So yes, labels help people who are wanting to control, to define you in a way that makes them feel safe and empowered. And that's it.
Yeah, I think it's probably a natural human tendency to differentiate, and especially in our culture, at least, like labels are everywhere and encouraged. But something I thought was so powerful was you talked about even ourselves, like especially ourselves, like how we label ourselves and how do we get out of doing that. And I feel like if we can get there with ourselves, we can get there with each other. But oh my gosh. And I was just wondering if you talked about that. Are there any labels that you're working on, kind of crumbling away, or when you have that label come up, you say, oh, I hear you. And, but I'm not going to believe that or live that.
You're always trying to get my business, Maryellen.
I'm just curious.
So I will. Yeah. So you do make a powerful point, and that differentiation matters. Yes, I do want poisonous snakes labeled, right? I need to know that snake's not good. And if it's just a little garden snake, you can pick it up. Okay, well, good. So you said this snake is safe, right? So I get it. Some labels are important, right? So the label that I'm dealing with now is plus size. And I've talked about how in my community, that's not always a bad thing. You're a thick sister. That's wonderful. But what made me think, hey, I need to do something about this is that when I worked in the hospital, I would hear the doctors or the RNs often say, if only this person had come in 10 years earlier, right? If only they'd come in 10 years earlier. We could have caught this. We could have caught. So I thought, okay, I'm at my 10 years earlier,
Yep.
and that was okay. So in 10 years, do I want to be suffering the consequences of this? So here we go. So dealing with that, and the label that is consistent for me, is pushy broad, loud black woman, bossy, and I wear those labels with pride, but I have to ask to remember that if I'm in relationship with people, again, how can I be all those things, bossy and upfront, but in a way that continues to invite relationship? So,
That's amazing.
yes, and I love labels. And I have Lily's mother. I'd go someplace. First, I was my sister's sister. Oh yeah, that's Julie's sister. It's like I had a name. Then oh yeah, that's Lily's mother. Okay, right. So some of those labels I like. I love Rev or Pastor. Those are beautiful things. Silly, gorgeous. But yes, those labels that make sure that labels that disempower, and if they apply, you know, those sorts of things. But yes, that's the thing. When they told you these are bad people, so the label was
Right.
they were bad. It's like bad because how? Right? These are bad people. Like that's the hood. Well, why is that neighborhood considered the hood? Let's talk about it. Well, people there are criminals, but why? Is it because they don't have enough money? Because they don't have food safety? Because that place was redlined to make sure that only low-income people could live there, and so that way, again, we have this label to say you don't want to live in that neighborhood, so you're going to work yourself to death because you want to live in this neighborhood, right? Again. So those things, yes.
It's a process too. I don't know, and I might edit this out, but
No, dog.
I was looking through photos the other day. I was trying to find a photo, and I was looking way back in. I think it was. Did you come here in 2024?
Yes.
It was during your presentation, like your first workshop here, and you look
My
completely
candidating.
different. You look completely different from there. I was like, oh my God, that's Minnassa when she got here. So you have been on a journey since.
That's
then.
right. I was a baldy head. Right, my hair was cut short. I'm growing out my locks. I'm in the process of releasing excess weight.
Yeah, it's happening. I mean, yeah, and there's none of this, if you're doing it healthy, it doesn't necessarily happen quickly.
Yes, and that's the annoying thing about it.
It's a daily march.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, I want to lose 50 pounds in a month. First of all, you did that. It would be so horrible for your body that wouldn't even work.
This
But
is
anyway.
true.
So
Yeah.
yes, slow and steady wins the race.
Okay.
I want to just talk about one more thing about being authentic. If you guys don't know, I give Maryellen a hard time all the time. Right? Because Maryellen is on a path of setting healthy boundaries. So I'm a pushy person, and I want things done in a certain way and at a certain time. Maryellen's like, well, I'm available this day. And it's like, but I say yes, right? Because her and I are recovering people pleasers.
Yes.
And so
big time.
it is, I appreciate that.
I appreciate it too.
Right?
Thank
Because
you. You are my teacher in so many ways, and sometimes the teachers in our lives, they kind of just like. So yeah, I'm learning so much. It's been a great exercise in using my voice and saying, well, instead of like, oh, I'm just
Yes.
like, no, this is what I can do.
Indeed. Indeed. So I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Proud of you. So, okay, here we go. As I told Lily that if everyone in the church hates me, I know I have a place to go, which is to the May family.
Always.
Probably going up the hill.
Well, I was so delighted to.
And no one in the church hates me. I'm just saying.
No, not at all. Not in the least.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, the May family, I would say the May family in all its iterations, from your mom and your dad to Mary Madore to you, have all been very good to me. And Augustine for introducing me to chocolate mousse grasshopper
Oh
flavor.
yeah, it's the best.
Oh, yeah, I know. Now I'm like, so good. So good.
So Father's Day,
Yes.
we had Dakota Bullock as the service leader
Yes.
and his husband Brian Shepard
Yes.
as the message deliverer, and it was phenomenal. I loved all of it and want to see more of them, and just wondered if we could talk about the message and the service and any of your reflections.
Well, Brian and I had met in Dakota. We forced ourselves to go to Owen Valley Winery and have wine flights and eat food there. And so he wanted to talk about the father within, and to talk about the concept that, just like we always say on Mother's Day, moms did the best they could. And some of it was great and some of it wasn't. And so there's people that have mother wounds, and or your mother deserted you, or you're not talking right. So all those things, but they also have that conversation with. And so what I loved about it was that he was able to say his father. There were areas where he felt his father could have been better, but this is what he took from him. And I thought, that's a real mature step,
Yeah.
right? Because you want to just throw out the baby with the bathwater. You say, well, I wish this had been different. He taught me this, and I'm still carrying this. His father's passed away, and he's still carrying that. Then to be able to honor his father-in-law as a family man, as being there. And then, of course, to bring up Mr. Rogers. And again, is that example of healthy masculinity, right? Someone who could be soft, but also firm. What a lot of people don't know is Mr. Rogers was a troublemaker. They had this whole thing about when they were wanting to integrate the pools, and he wanted to do something about it, and they were like, don't do that. Even, no, our sponsors aren't going to like that. So he has whatever his friend, Mr. Policeman, not the puppets, but a human policeman came, and it was a hot day.
Oh, yeah.
And Mr. Rogers put water in the pool, and he put his feet in the pool, and then he had this man who was a police officer who was black put his feet in the pool, right? We're going to integrate the pool, right? Black and white together in the pool. Very powerful. Sent a very loud message right there through PBS, right? That first of all, the network wasn't going to tell him, and he was going to show that this is. I want kids to know. And while your parents are freaking out, like this one little, I saw it on TikTok. This young white man said, "You're talking about us as kids being immature." He's like, "You guys couldn't drink out of the fountain with a black person, right? Like, what? How crazy is that? But you think the stuff we're doing is crazy." So again, this man breaking the rules, setting the standard. That's again something soft and approachable, but holding the line. I will not stand for this. And so that was very beautiful. And so to have Brian really talk about that, and how do we go within and honor our father? My dad wasn't a part of my life. He had another family, and that's where his attention went. And stuff happened between him and my mom before I even got here. So they broke up, with his family. Okay, that's fine, right? Okay, it's fine, right? But people make choices, and so I can honor him today. He's on my ancestor altar. But my father was my Uncle Junie. And that's where I learned about love and softness. And sometimes you got to be smart. One time my mom and my aunt were just ganging up on me about something. I don't know if I said I didn't want to go to college or I wanted to do this, and they weren't hearing it because they understood as a black woman I needed to get into college and everything. And so I can't even remember what it was about, because what happened afterward was more important. So my uncle was in there the whole time that they were having this gang up. So I went outside to do something, and all of a sudden, here's my uncle. He's like, "Now, Pumpkin, I didn't want to say anything in front of your mom and Aunt Patty, but you do what you want." That's right, sneak outside, but again, right? So that he had, so in that moment, I said, well, you should have stood up to them right then and said something. No, he came to me. I was the only person that really needed to hear it. And so I honor that. He had a stroke and a heart attack on the same day, because that's how he was, of course. And so he 10 years, he lived 10 years past that. You're never going to walk again. He got back to driving and everything. And when Lily was born, and 3 months later he died. And my aunt said, "Well, how come you don't want to hold the baby?" Referring to Lily. And he said, "My hands are numb, Patty. I'm afraid. I don't want to drop her." So he says, "Do you want to hold the baby?" He says, "I do." So my aunt placed Lily in his hands, and she stood right in front of him. So if Lily went to rolling off, right? So again, here's a man that at one time would have never admitted he needed help, but to have that capacities, right? So, yeah. So did he have his rough spots? Oh, yes, indeed. Like, I guess he was like a manly man. Because first of all, he had Napoleon complex. And see, I'm using labels. He's a little short man.
Right.
But like somehow he thought in his mind that deodorant was like, yeah, and also brushing his teeth. So he's told me that the way he learned about brushing his teeth, he was like a welder, and he had that mask down. So him and his own breath. So that's what cured him of that. Right. So in all his foibles, this was the man that told me do what you want to do. And yes, I don't want to drop the baby, but I want to hold her, right? So that we again labels. You're a strong man. Well, can strong man be weak sometime? Can strong man, you're a decisive leader. But sometimes can a decisive leader not know what's going on? Again, can our labels be flexible?
Yeah.
That whole thing. So yes, so that Father's Day message of where has the Father in our life been able to help us, right? And where they needed help or weren't available to us in the way that we wanted them to be, right? Because that's what it is, in the way that we wanted them to be. Can we learn from that and make sure that then are we being there for people in that way? So it was a very beautiful message. His slides were gorgeous.
Yes, I don't know who made those, but they're amazing.
I think he did.
The whole presentation.
I know. I was like jealous much.
Awesome. And I sadly was at home watching
Yes,
from
sir.
home, which is great to watch, the service at home.
Indeed.
And it was beautiful. I'm just so grateful for the honesty, that this is complicated. It's not like, let's just love the
Yes.
Father. It's like, well.
Indeed.
And he addressed that. But talking about the Father within and how we can father and mother ourselves.
Yes,
And what
yes.
does that look like? That planting the seed of encouragement and steadfast and safe and space to grow. And I was like, yeah, that's my dad. I definitely have gotten that from my father and been so fortunate. But also, how do we find that for ourselves and plant that in other people? It was just a beautiful invitation. That was
Yes,
so
it
well
was
done.
I'm so proud of him.
Yeah, it was awesome. I just love all our guest speakers. I love to hear you talk also, but I love the variety and
Yes, it's important that other people's voices are heard in there. And so, yes, so that's why, like, next week we're going to have, or this coming Sunday, have Melanie Davis. That, yes, there are other perspectives. I'm not so full of myself that I think only my voice matters in that congregation. That, yes, I'm there to lead, to teach, and to guide, but other people, I can partner with other people to do that. So that's what I do.
I am so lucky to serve on the board right now. It's been fascinating, and I think I've been to 5 or 6 meetings. I'm learning a lot. There's way more involved than I realized, which is awesome. But it's so cool to be in this position behind the scenes and see how decisions are made, and it's beautiful, and it's such an incredible group. And if you ever want to join us, the board is open, the meeting is open to anyone who wants to come check it out. Right. So I've been so grateful. And we have been trying to get 7 of us together for a photo.
Oh, LOL.
Forever. Since I joined. And
correct.
Someone's
and then,
always gone.
Right. And then Kathy resigned. So then we had Shira. So now it's trying to get all of us together. Go ahead.
So we did. So we finally realized it would be better to schedule a time outside of the meeting to have someone take our photo. So my uncle Kip May is an incredible photographer.
Yes, he is.
We contacted him. We got a date where it worked for all of us. We all showed up. We were looking great, and we got our picture taken. It's this beautiful portrait, and I was just thrilled. But I was so grateful to you. So what happened then was I was like, look at this picture. This is an amazing picture. It's the best Unity board photo that's ever been taken. And Minnassa's like, no. She's like, I don't like it at all. And I'm like, oh, no.
No, the picture was gorgeous. I just didn't like it. Looked like right here they had done some kind of photoshopping, and my eyes had gone like this. So it's like, I'm not trying to have Hollywood plastic surgery look. Yeah. And so your uncle had another picture where we were all smiling and I didn't look like that.
Yes, so I wanted to apologize to you.
No,
because
Mary,
I'm serious. At the time I was like, Minnassa, like, I don't like how I look in any photo. I mean, that's how my vanity is. That's how the degree. And I was like, you can Photoshop me. But when I saw the other picture, I understood immediately what you were talking about. And I was like, I compared the two and I zoomed in and I was like, oh, she is Photoshopped. And here she is, this natural beauty. So that's the one you wanted. And I just thought that was so cool because she said, no, like, I am not going to have this be and I was like, we did all this to get this photo and you're not happy with it. But she wasn't happy with it because she didn't look natural.
Correct. That's all I was trying to say. Like, yeah, I'll go with what I got. Let's, and he was choosing that picture because he liked the smile. So once we found a
Yes.
picture where we're all smiling, and then I was smiling, yeah. And so again, this was about cooperation.
Yeah.
I didn't go in there demanding. Kip and I met, and we looked through the pictures and all that thing. We were able to talk about Ann. I was able to get his perspective on that, and Grandma May, and so it was a beautiful time for him and I to get to know each other better. But yeah, this was a relational. So we're looking, and he wasn't like, "We got these 3 pictures." He was just going through each one and so, "Oh, this one is good." So we had, sometimes person's looking down. And then the picture that I chose, I'm like, "That's perfect. Let's take it." He goes, "No," because what I didn't see was that like you could see the side, so they just photoshopped that part out, and we're good to go.
Yeah. So that was great. Also on the board, just getting down to the minutia of how this place functions, and you take it for granted. I took it for granted, showing up on Sundays and having fun and seeing all my friends and feeling good is wonderful. But if you don't have a building to do it in, that's a problem. So you have to figure out how to make it work. And I was talking to a friend about this who didn't know much. She's like, "Oh, why do churches even need money? How much money do they need?" And I was like, that was me before I joined the board. And now I'm like, you don't even know, like things are falling apart. Like,
Correct. Like for your own house,
Right.
upkeep.
Yeah, maintenance. It's an old building,
Correct. And then you have staff to pay, and
all the things.
so yes, and then stuff breaks down. So that's where we're at right now. The stuff is
Yes.
breaking down. So what is the best way? You have a building that's been there for 30 years. Stuff's happening underground with the pipes, and so now we're looking at that. So now we're talking about what is the best way to do that. So then that's where I bring my listen. We need to document, right? Document. And like, no,
Yes.
we like this person, and they're gonna. It's like, oh heck no, we're gonna document,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's just different perspectives. But I appreciate you saying that yes, everything we talk about at our meeting is in a notebook that's inside our library. So if you don't come, you have access to the information. But that, yes, while our spiritual center is a loving place, it's a healing place, it's a fun place, yummy snacks place, right? Learning place, it's a business.
Yeah.
And businesses need to run efficiently. Even though we're a nonprofit,
Yeah.
we have electricity bill. Thank you, Roy, for getting us the solar panel so that our electricity bill has really gone down. But again, we have to have the building clean. So when I first came there, it's like, no, get a professional to clean it. All those things.
Yeah.
The people take care of. So when it's winter, who's going to clean our parking lot?
Yep.
Right? The top parking lot and the lower parking lot. All those things.
Sometimes it can feel like, at least for me, like they're overwhelming, just the amount of effort, the group effort. But it is a community. And so we do all need to do something. And I think we do. We're very good at that. And I'm so grateful that you ask us. And maybe for some it can be like, she's asking us to do this now. And, but it's like, yes, because not, you
I like
can't
that you
do it
said
all.
I asked.
Well, and it's good to, again, ask for help. Be vocal
Yes,
about it.
yes,
That's the thing
yes.
I'm learning. Whenever I'm leading, I tend to just take it all and do it, but it doesn't always turn out great.
Yes, you do, you Capricorn.
It'd be so much better if I delegated and said, you do this, or how I need some help in this area. And
Right.
that's what now that I'm on the board and sitting in those meetings and looking at all the things we've got going on, I'm like, oh, she's asking for help. That's good. This is, thank goodness. Yes. Who can help? And where's the money? And what are we going to do? And how are we going to?
Correct. And so like have a grounds committee.
Yes.
So for me, I never worry about the money because we're prosperous. And the generosity of this community I've seen it so many times that I'm not even concerned about that. To me, it's, are we doing our due diligence? Are we protecting the church from, my number one word, are we protecting the church from liability? Are we in a place that if what we're doing under the ground has some bad effect, do we have the documentation we need for our insurance? Insurance don't want to pay. So they're going to use every little thing they possibly can. Well, no, we got our ducks in a row. So give us our check.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Yes, but it is beautiful. It is a beautiful team, a great set of people. The other thing is that people roll off. They have, the thing is the transparency of Unity in general. When I went to the first annual meeting and they just said the budget out loud in front of everyone, I was like, what is going on? Not because it was I was like, I've been in churches for years. I've never seen the budget.
Mm-hmm.
I was the pastor,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I mean, just the transparency. This is what we're going to do, and this is what we're going to work on, and this is the project. So, the microphone project, we wanted to get that taken care of right away. All those things. There is a real group effort.
Yeah.
You know? And then I'm over here saying, get the documentation, make sure we can protect us from liability.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned about the snacks too, because that's something that has kind of just like whoever remembers to bring the snacks but everybody, I need to be more mindful of this too. Like when I know I'm coming to Unity, oh, could I greet today? Let me check the greeters and see if we need any greeters. Oh, I'll just stop by Kroger and get some Danish or something, or bring. So like thinking about these things.
I was a greeter on Sunday.
Thank you. So yeah, we can all play, and we all do play multiple roles and do lots of things, and that's what being in community means. So I'm just so grateful for not just your ministry, but the leadership and on the board and keeping us all together and keeping things moving. And that is, boy, you're wearing a lot of hats. Yeah.
Yes, but I have a great community that not just loves me, but is growing to understand me as I'm growing to understand them. Like when we talked about Roy, who was retiring from the board, I said very plainly, I want to replace Roy because he's leaving, right? Not that I'm trying to get rid of him. He'd already with someone 50 or under. Well, all eyes on me.
Yeah.
Right? Because even like I said to Lily, well, I'm going to talk to Maryellen because I want to be able to do the podcast more. So can she film it and you can edit it? Well, Mom, well, you can edit it yourself. Right? So now I'm in my boomer mind. Like, what do you mean? She says, okay, well, can you go to your computer, your laptop, and look if it has this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, right? Very true. That's how it was. You can ask her, right? But the whole point is that, yes, that even I have a millennial for a child. So sometimes in older people my age, I'm like, just get a millennial to help you, right? Stop trying to figure it out, right? So I understand that my bandwidth, my experience affects my capacity at times to see things moving forward. And so you get a bunch of gray-haired people on the board, they're going to still want to do that. Like what I like about you and Luke is that you have a different vision of unity in that many people on the board have the view of Unity as the little church that was just barely making it financially. But you two carry a different view. And that's the view we need going forward, that this is a growing church and we have a generous donor base and that people give. I mean, I'm just saying, we needed $10,000 for a tech booth 2 months.
Yep.
I'm just saying, people are just writing checks left and right. Even when we take care of is it New Hope for Families? Because I'm always, right? If you get the kids, they register at Target, you get the gifts, or you give them gift cards in that amount. We did both. So we got every gift they wanted and gave them that same dollar amount. My congregation, my community is generous. So whenever we're looking at bills and needing to pay stuff, I'm never concerned about that. I'm more concerned about how are we going to do it? Did we get the right bids, right? So, but again, we have to get in that place to be ready to transition to a younger leadership team that they need to be involved because I was talking about the 30 to 50. We're getting ready to hand the church to them.
Yeah.
Right? And then Mayberry and Mabry and Ella and Elsa are right behind.
Yeah.
And so those voices need to be involved. Younger voices need to be involved. They push us. They challenge us. They have a different perspective. So it's important to me.
That was a fun surprise to the last board meeting because Minnassa's always, she's driving, which is great, and I need that, and I need a kick in the pants, and I appreciate it so much.
Yes, when I'm going on and on about stuff, and they're all like looking at me like this.
But I do. I think we all need that, and that's how things happen. So I'm grateful for that force. And then she says, I want us to hold space for people who are 30 to 50 years old in our community. And that's it. And just, how do we do that? So leaving that open-ended, what does that mean? What do people who are 30 to 50 years old need and what do they want? And just having that open-ended question was like, I felt so seen and so like acknowledged, and I've been thinking about it ever since.
Oh, we're good. Good.
It's a great question. So that just really touched me. Yeah.
Wow. Well, because the whole thing, like that group of people, that age group is coming to me with questions. And so, like, even so, I'm working on putting a series together, but I think, like, okay, I can do something at 12 because I can get all the retirees to come to that one, but I'm going to have to do something in the evening. It's probably going to have to also be, what is it? Hybrid.
Yeah.
So, something, right? So, because, yes, well, we can just have Bible study at 1 o'clock. Okay, for those of us with all this gray in our hair, yes. But Emily Jockelin can't come at 1 o'clock. You can't come at 1 o'clock. Crystal can't come at 1 o'clock, right? So what does that age group need? Right? So that's what I'm trying to, got to shift this mindset of how we put things together. You know, working with Phyllis on the music, right? Because I'll tell you, Lily's first words to me after our first Sunday there was, you got to change the music. Kids, people my age don't want to hear that. So I listened to her there versus get in the closet, the tornado warning. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, Raven was feeding herself. Raven made a tuna melt.
Oh my gosh.
She's like, well, I'm going to be trapped in the closet. I want to have some food. Yeah, so. But again, that air, you know, planting that seed. So yes, to have Mabry at 9 years old be the youth speaker, to have Elsa at 11 years old be our Mother's Day speaker, and then to turn to Ella, who is probably 9 or 10 years old, and say, hey, did your mom tell you that I've got my eye on you to be the Mother's Day speaker next year? And her response is, okay. It's like, he's saying, right? Because it's easy to say, oh, youth matter here, and we care about these people, then you don't do anything for them. I mean, Mabry had already told Raven, but she told me myself, you know I'm ready to speak again. Right? Right? This is, you want your community to grow. People wonder why their churches aren't growing. It's because you're not giving power away. Yeah, do I want to sit on the front row and get up and just do my prayer and do those things? Yes. So, yes, Brian, you and Dakota are going to run the whole show. Right? Yes, maybe come on and speak. Right, that's what we have to share power. We have to, right, are we authentic? Do you really matter? Well, here, let me give you the keys to the service this Sunday. Let me make sure that, like, I already know we've got to do something different because Elsa, Mabry, Ella, Christoph, right, they're not ready to, they're not done with, but I don't, that what we do for Ambrose and Asher and Nora is not the same that these tweens need. Right, so it's like, what a problem to have, right? Here we're growing, and say, Maryellen, I'm going to take anything out because I oftentimes don't speak a lot to my minister friends about this, right? Because most of them don't have 20 and unders, and they don't have 30 to 50. And here I am, like, because remember the little list I came with like 15 people, and then it turned into 30 people.
We just kept adding people
it's
to
like,
the 30 to 50 list.
Oh my God.
All these wonderful, it was awesome. What a list. Yeah.
And so, yes, we've got to give the power away or share it. I'll say maybe that's better to share it.
Yeah.
This is your community. And so you have a part to play in that. And yes, I would be remiss in my call to serve this community if I don't raise up leadership. Right? So, yeah, I'm in charge. And then when I retire, good luck. Well, I already know all churches, not just Unity, Baptist Church, Lutheran Church, they're not getting enough people out of seminary to replace the churches they have right now. So it would be a disservice to me. It'd be a disservice to my community to not raise up the next generation of leadership. I mean, I'm just feeling passionate about it, right? It's like, I'm not just called there to teach and preach and make everybody feel good. I've got to raise up this next generation, say you matter. Your voice matters. I believe in your skill set.
And I think I'd like to put that call out to everyone, not just if you're 30 to 50, but how would you hold space for this group? And what would you like and what do you need? And that's been on my heart. And the two things that came to me were already happening. So that's a win. And the first is just having that building to come to. not just on Sundays, but for so many things. But now that I know what it requires to maintain an old building and just how hard that is, that feels like an incredible feat in and of itself, to have this beautiful sanctuary for us to come together once a week. So that's one thing. The second was grace. And I receive that all the time when I have to tell Phyllis, I'm really sorry, I can't participate in choir this week because everybody's sick, or I can't do this and this and that. And everybody's like, okay, yeah, no, it's no big deal. It's not like, well, you better come anyway,
Versus
or
like,
whatever.
well, if you want to disappoint the Lord and not do your, I mean,
Yeah.
we could go that place. We don't do that at Unity,
No,
but
it's so
I'm just
much
saying.
grace. It's, again, already there, but I want to acknowledge that and just how grateful I am that I'm not being judged for not being able to do all the things, because we're all doing already so much. But so those are two things. But I would like to hear from other people,
Indeed.
what they want. And if you're 30 to 50, like, how can we at Unity hold space for you?
Yes, I'm going to have an open house for you guys.
Oh,
I'm going to
nice.
talk with Maryellen afterwards
okay.
about the date. Or even like, so for me, it's not that kids need to be not, what is it, seen but not heard,
Right.
but children, as a recovering youth pastor, they can just rearrange things in ways that you're not expecting. So for my mind is the kids don't need to come, let's not have the kids come in. They can go right downstairs. Where I had parents say to me, I don't want that. I want my kids to know that they're welcome. Because I'm like, they're welcome in the building, that they're welcomed at service. So if you notice, we made that change, that the kids get dismissed at a certain time because the parents told me that, where I was like, no, they need to just go downstairs. Right? Again, that's my boomer mindset. Like, yeah, they'll have fun down there and they'll be out of our hair. Right? But the parents is 30 to 50 group saying, I have a different need. I want my kids to know they're important. Yeah, so you want your kids to know they're important. That's right. So they're going to be the guest speaker and the service leader. Come on up, right? So when we have our singing time, come on up and get your instruments. Very different from even how I was trained in ministry. Right? Get the kids out. No, I want the kids clanking and clanking during the service. Come on.
Yeah.
Come and get your little thing and let's clank together, right? So again, this is about what is the need of this congregation versus, for my little Virgo mind, what is the most efficient way to run the service, right? So again, do our kids important to us or not? Yeah, they are. Just keep them downstairs. What is that message? What is the message being sent to the parents? So everyone matters, and how can we serve everyone? But yeah, that group 30 to 50, important. They are the they are the leaders of this congregation. They are right, I don't want to say on our heels, but they're coming in step with us so that we can. So yeah, I want that group to know that they're empowered and that they're important.
Yep. Thank you.
And it includes Aaron, who said he just turned 50. I said, you're in the group. You're in the group. But it excludes me and Leanne because, we're both 51. I just want to honor the congregation. We're coming up on my second year anniversary, and we've gone through a lot. I mean, losing Melanie is unexpected. My sweet Gail, Roy. I mean, I've done so many funerals. I've been at the hospital. But Raven will tell you, when I came home from Roy at the emergency room, praying with Jana and Roy's daughter, which I can't remember which of the girls. Andrea, not the one, Andrea. I just sat in the chair and I could not do much else. I mean, I was just like, dude, no. No. You weren't on the board anymore, but I had stuff for you to do. And, right? It's like, dude, no. And so to honor that, I tell people, and this is true, that the day that my sweet Gail passed away, everyone's texting Lily, and Lily's my little protector. And she's like, no, they're not coming over here. I just want you to go home and rest. And I said, I can't tell my community no. And so to have my house full of people who were smiling at me and hugging me, wow. To have this congregation say, I want to have the jazz band come. So they came, I think, last year for Black History Month. And people loved it. I said, well, let's have them for my birthday. So we've had them 3 or 4 times this year. Again, this community that's able to say, this is different to us, but we will welcome this. It's a great way for us to connect with the IU because of Jacob School of Music. That's where every one of those musicians came from. The young woman who's training with Seb is from the media school. Again, so this community didn't just say, yeah, we're going to take this Black gay lady and look at us, we're diverse, right? But they have continued to grow, continued to expand. And to me, that is the most hopeful and exciting thing. You know, I said, listen, someone said the church inside, the chapel looks too plain. I get a group of these artsy-fartsy ladies and Mary Madore, because I needed a Capricorn to control the situation. They created the most beautiful pyramids. They took my idea and did exceedingly abundantly more. They brought their divine creativity, their divine energy, and so beautiful. And then we needed to work out the flowers. They're like, they told the people, and they're like, yeah, they're like, no, here are the swatch colors, right? They're serious. You're not just going to give us any type of flowers. You're going to give us the flowers that, I mean, amazing, amazing. You know, we need this tech booth. Amazing. The love that is there. Different people coming in. You know, I'm like, when the kids are making noise during service, even at the beginning part, I'm like, right? But just come together again. Kathy and Roy, listen, I need to come off this board. I love this community, but it's not for me anymore, right? I honor that. Indeed, right? That this is a community of people in progress. Love solid, right? That's the solid foundation, but growing, evolving, willing to learn, again, to look at Jesus in a different way. Because, you know, one lady told me one time, "Hey, you talk about Jesus too much." Or that people had told her I was very Jesus-y. Okay. But again, this is a master teacher. This is our way shower. So what can we learn versus, Jesus? And that community has gone that way with me. That, yes, they want to be a difference maker. They want to be a healing place. They're ready to take in people who are different. And you can't ask for more than that. So let me just give you a little preview. I'm putting together a Bible study because people are wanting to know more about the Bible, but also how do we look at it in a metaphysical way. So I'm going to do a Bible study. We'll start with the book of Matthew. We have a great book by Emmett Fox called The Sermon on the Mount. So to take a look at it, sort of what is presented as Master Teacher Jesus' introductory sermon, or this is his themes, what is important, and then how do we learn from this book? What is Matthew trying to tell us, right? Because did Matthew write it? I don't know. Is this what Jesus said exactly? I don't know. But the point is that this narrative fits with what his example shows in other narratives. And so wanting to do that. So we'll use Emmett Fox, the Sermon on the Mount, and we'll go through the book of Matthew. I'm hoping to start. So I'll say, let me stay on task. Yes, Gail, stay on task. Hoping to do, I think it's a 12-week series, or it's 8 weeks. But I realized when doing that work that I still need to lay a different type of foundation. So I'm looking to do a 2-week, or 2 week, not 2 weeks, but 2 Saturdays, a webinar or a seminar using Discover the Power Within, so we can all get on this page of what does it mean to be unity? What does it mean to pray affirmatively? What does it mean to be in connection with our Christ consciousness, using the amazing writing of Reverend Eric Butterworth to get us that foundation? So then how do we take this sacred book, which is the Bible, so that you can then say, okay, this is what I learned in this class, so then how can I look at the book of Psalms, or what is the Pentateuch telling me? And we'll have more, but so get ready. So that's why we're going to put together a survey, what times work for you, and those sorts of things. What's the best day?
Nice.
Doing that. I'll be busy.
I know. I started reading Discover the Power Within You, and I didn't. So Maya Angelou wrote the introduction.
Yes.
I didn't know she was a Unity member. That blew my mind. It was like, okay, I'm in.
Yes, and Eric, I know that I came to Unity at the right time, but oh my gosh, Eric, it's like Eric Butterworth would just change my life. And he is changing my life, just doing it
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
And so just some great resources. And so I'm happy about that. So there, well, that's what, keep your eye out. We're looking for that.
Anything else?
I think we're good.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again next month.